So glad to finally have a chance to talk to you about the children's ministry, and I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get this video up and out to you, but we're in the works, and I just want to offer a little bit of encouragement to you and give you a little bit of information about kind of where we're headed with things. So I know things are in a really awkward state of life right now with the world being what it is, and I know for some of us, the days kind of seem to drone on, and some of us might not even remember what day it is because they all just start to look the same. Some of us are struggling with getting the medical services provided that we need to get because the focus is just elsewhere and we're needing to stay home so that we don't add insult to injury. Some of us have lost jobs. It's a really tough time for all of us. But I don't want to be reinforcing that. What I want to be reinforcing is the good news of the gospel and the good news that Jesus lives. He overcame the grave. And so I want to encourage you with a bit of scripture. This is coming from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 16. Because we are in him, so we do not lose heart. Though our outer self is wasting away, our inner self is being renewed day by day. And I hope it is for you. I hope you're in the word, being renewed by him day by day. Verse 17, for this light momentary affliction is preparing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison, as we look not to the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient, but the things that are unseen are eternal. So, my friends, we do not lose heart. And because we do not lose heart, we continue to press forward with our plans for children's ministry, with our plans for Burks Branch Baptist Church. And next, I want to share with you a passage that has always been one of my favorites in regards to children's ministry, and it's out of Psalms chapter 78. This is verses 1 through 8. It says, give ear, O my people, to my teaching. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings from of old, things that we have heard and known, that our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from our children, but tell to the coming generation the glorious deeds of the Lord and his might, and the wonders that he has done. He has established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers to teach to their children, that the next generation might know them, the children yet unborn, and arise and tell them to their children, so that they should set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments, and that they should not be like their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation whose heart was not steadfast, whose spirit was not faithful to God. We tell the next generation. Verse 7 says, we tell them so that they may not lose hope. And this is a time when everyone needs hope. It's always a time when everyone needs hope, isn't it? We tell them so that they do not lose hope and so that they do not become like the rebellious generations that have come before them. Verse 5 says the answer to what we're telling them, okay? It says, he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers to teach to their children. So the testimony in Jacob and the law appointed in Israel. So basically, in other words, the Old and New Testaments, that's what we're teaching the children. That's what we're teaching them in order to build hope and in order to help them to steer away from a rebellious life that turns away from the Lord. We want to urge our children to love God because he first loved them. So how do we do that, practically speaking? Well, some of our ministry goals have to go step by step. We can't just come up with this major plan all at once and get it all done. We're just not that amazing, quite frankly. Jesus is, but we are working in human bodies with human abilities here. So we're going to take it step by step. And the first step that Pastor Ken has asked us to lead in is to create a children's church program for the preschoolers that would happen during the worship service. So this would be specifically a ministry to families that have children ages 6 and under. After that, they've become first graders. They're able to sit a little bit more still and a little bit more quietly during the worship service, probably work on providing some sort of, packet or paper for them to work on during the service for the younger ones. But for starting out, we're going to do children's church just for the preschoolers. So and as we're just a smaller group, it could be from babies up to 6-year-olds. Once we continue to grow and as the Lord blesses, as we need to split up the age groups and as we get more and more families, Lord willing, we'll go ahead and split up those age groups and create more age-specific programming for them. But the first step is to have a combined group for the preschool families, and that will be helpful both to the families who are coming in, who are checking out our church, and they see that their children are valued because there's something offered for them. They'll be able to take part in the worship service, kind of distraction-free, and not have to be worrying about their little guys squirming around and making noise and whatnot. And it'll also help our pastor as he's delivering messages to be able to be a little bit more freed up from the distractions of little tiny tykes. Of course, if distractions do come, we just roll with it. But anyway, so the next step would be after we've been able to grow a little bit and we have a few more children, a few more families to work with, we'll begin to create Sunday school services that are more age specific and broken down into more groups that are targeted at each age group. And I would love for that to be all the way through from babies on up. But we have to see what the Lord will do in terms of what we have to work with in terms of volunteers and as well as the children. So it could be, step 2 could be either that, where we begin to add on our Sunday school numbers, or depending on what's happening in the life of our church, the next step could be a midweek evening program for our children. So depending on what's happening in the life of our church, whichever one tends to need more focus, we'll go with that next. And we'll just have to see how the Lord leads. The third step would be whichever one of those two doesn't happen, that would then happen. So if we start with Sunday school age breakdowns and then go to midweek program, then that's the order it would go in. And, otherwise it would be vice versa. Of course, along the way, other things that happen with our children in the regular life of our church, such as VBS, we're still going to work towards making that happen. We're not really sure where life is going to be at in the coming months. Hopefully by, let's say June, everybody will be so excited to be out of their houses and begin to build community again that VBS will hopefully be a really awesome opportunity for families to get back into the community and back into programming. And we would love to bring the gospel to our neighborhood children with an awesome opportunity to get out in the world again. So I'm really hoping and praying that we can make that happen. If you haven't joined our team yet, it's not too late. I would love to have you. I know when we were actually still meeting in the church building, I had announced my sign-up sheet as one that was basically just if you wanted more information. So I hope this is giving you a little bit more information to go off of. Again, if you haven't committed and you'd like to still commit to it, I would love to have you on the team. If you signed up on the information sheet, but you weren't really sure and you're still kind of thinking about it, that's totally okay. If you have more questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer anything I can. If you are ready to jump in both feet, awesome. Those of you who did sign up on the email sheet, you should have seen 3 emails from me so far. The first email would have been an application email. So this is just an electronic application. It makes it super easy. It just feels like filling out a survey. One person told me they said it took maybe about 15 minutes or so. But this is just to get to know you a little bit more because we're so new to the church. It helps me to kind of understand where you're coming from. It helps me to know what your experience is like. It helps me also to kind of build that kind of mental profile of who you are so that, in terms of working with you for training, if maybe you might need a little bit more training or a little little or a lot less training than somebody else, or if I need to pair you up with somebody else in terms of kind of balancing things out, that helps me to know how to do that as well. So that's kind of the reason behind that. And if you see like a birthday question or anniversary question or something like that, it's just because I want to celebrate with you. But don't feel like I'm trying to pry into your personal life. Okay, it's just to celebrate together. The second email you should have seen from me would have been the first step in the training. So that would be including a link for a audio sermon to listen to called Jesus and Children. It is about an hour long, so I apologize for the length on that, but it is a really, really well done sermon, and I hope that you can take a chance to listen to that. The third email that you would have seen from me would have been step 2 in the training, and that is basically just a copy of our policies and procedures for you to kind of read through. Super easy read, okay, and it's going to feel very textbook, and I apologize for that. But the one thing that is good about that is that it helps us to all get on the same page and all to kind of know what the expectations are like, and to kind of all just be together in this thing that we're doing. So the third step of the training I have not yet emailed out, and that would be the fourth email from me. But I'm hoping to work on that this coming week. And that would be basically what a typical Sunday might look like. It would contain the schedule, or at least a theoretical schedule, because we're not meeting yet. But then it would also have a curriculum overview in it and just a little bit of information about the Jesus Storybook Bible, which is what we're going to be starting out with. So anyway, I hope that information is helpful for you, and I just want to encourage you again, we don't lose heart, and we are here to tell the next generation about the hope that we have in Jesus. And I hope that you're with me in that, and I look forward to when we can meet up again together and get this thing going. All right, we'll see you soon.